My king. Our steward rules a populace who call themselves the Tribe of the Dawn. They are primitive people. They gather wood and reeds to build their structures, and use clay and bog iron to improve them. Like all simple folk, they're compelled by survival to leave the comfort of the village. Many dream of adventure, but the surrounding woods are uninviting. Death and pain await in the wild. Evil creeps and crawls through the dark recesses of their minds. Your subjects are only human, and as such, their minds and bodies can be broken. In trying times, the people pray for aid. They have a witch who whispers powerful spells, blessing the tribespeople or cursing their foes. But even divine assistance may not be enough. They can only watch as their wooden settlement crumbles to dust, one after another.
This settlement you speak of, what do they call it?
This is a game I've been wanting to talk about on the channel for quite some time, and its development looks really fleshed out and very polished. Hello again there, friends and fans. Raptor here. Yeah, welcome to GORD. GORD is a game that kind of reminds me a bit of Ancestors Legacy, though it is a city builder / colony building simulator with a lot of RTS elements to it. Obviously, the ability to build palisades and structures for defense. And also farming and gathering and other things are present here, with it also seeming like a little bit like Frostpunk, where you're having to defend the center of your camp against the dangers of the wilderness outside, and of course the weather not really being cooperative either, with it always being dark and rainy, which also fits the whole Slavic lore of all these creatures and beasts. And yeah, right here we see the palisade system, where we can lay out our own defensive walls by clicking and dragging and making defensive walls in areas that might be easier to defend, such as a marsh or next to a river. And the devs surprised me, as they've been working with Team 17 as a publisher, and that's great. A lot of Team 17 games have come out over the years, including Hell Let Loose, and games that just kind of continue to come out left and right all the time from this publisher. And it looks like this dev is really doing a great job of creating an RTS and also a city builder at the same time. That gives me maybe They Are Billions vibes, as we're trying to, of course, fit as many buildings into a very small settlement as possible and defend against all the dangers outside. But today we'll see some gameplay from the developers, and recently, a few days ago, there's been more and more trailers being dropped on IGN and whatnot. And I really wanted to wait for a demo or a playtest. Luckily, Steam will probably have one at the end of May or June, where they have their next event, where a lot of games are free to try out in terms of a demo. For example, Manor Lords had a demo that blew everyone's mind, even though it was just a small sample of a region of the map. But hopefully this game will get a demo that we can try out to build our own defenses and see a little bit of the story. Now, recently on the channel, we took a look at a game called Grim Dawn, I believe it was, and that game did take place in a Slavic region where, of course, you make your own land, or rather settle your own land and make your own people and try to take care of them with farming and fishing and hunting and other things like that. And it does look like this game will have a lot of that. It gives me, again, those dark and gritty feelings of Frostpunk, and it does feel like a challenging RTS like Ancestors Legacy. But there's some other stuff here that I can't quite put my finger on yet. Perhaps like against the storm with the constant threat of rain and sickness and disease with it always being wet and cold. There's a risk for a lot of that. So it'll be interesting to not only see how they look at that tech tree right there. Absolutely amazing to see all the buildings for your city, but then also military. So it'll be really cool to see it play out like perhaps Frozenheim, where you build your own Viking settlement in that game, throw your own palisade around it, defensive towers, and then eventually start making Viking warriors to go out and explore the lands around your city. Well, hopefully GORD allows you to do the same, where you take care of all the needs of your people, the basic stuff of food and shelter and medicine, and then eventually start to strive and expand your settlement and colonize more lands around you. Looks like there's going to be a really fleshed out campaign for this, a very interesting story, but I do hope to see some level of possible multiplayer, co-op or competitive play, where it does play out maybe a little bit like Age of Empires, something to that nature, where of course you're building a city or an empire and then eventually expanding it. Although this seems like you'll be managing a smaller group of settlers, maybe somewhere between like 50 to 100 people, and pretty cool to actually see everybody going out and farming and logging. It does seem to be like a top-down MMO with how some of the animations look in combat. You'll see a little bit of that during the gameplay from the developer. But yeah, I really like the design of all the buildings. I thought it was great when I first saw this game with the palisade defending a small settlement, and didn't really think that this would expand into it being like a career mode or a campaign. I thought it would just be, you know, the typical, hey, jump into the game, build some buildings, last as long as you can. A few game modes such as maybe perhaps a wave defense, or maybe perhaps a, you know, your typical 2v2 or 1v1 against the AI. But there's a lot of potential here for more, and this is yet another example of a dev kind of coming out of nowhere with some really interesting ideas and some things that are clearly taken from some other games, inspiration taken from Slavic lore and mythicism, and also, of course, with that, you have different enemies and different units on your side and different religion and whatnot, people to pray to. Well, let's take a look at some of the gameplay here, and we'll take our first look.
On the right, we see portraits of each of our subjects.
Nice
At
UI.
the bottom, we can access our action panel. On the left, you can see a minimap, notifications, and information about quests.
Organized
At
too.
the top of the screen is information about our resources and parameters. Growth represents the overall advancement of our settlement. Faith allows us to use incantations, and sanity is our subject's mental state.
Spells?
Now let's reveal the full HUD and take stock
Oh,
of
wow.
our current situation.
That
It
looks
looks
nice.
like our economy is in good shape, and our subjects are relatively healthy.
Like
but
Frostpunk,
there is
for
an
sure.
issue we should investigate.
Poisoned eggs.
Okay, so it seems that our subjects are complaining about the surrounding swamps being full of fall spawn, lying their poisonous eggs everywhere. Let's help with that. So far we've been focusing only on the economy, so we haven't built any military structures. Let's fix that now.
Hell yeah,
I think
brother.
having both ranged and melee warriors for our quest will be handy, so let's build an archery range and an axe pit.
Wow, look at that. The ground looks great. All the dim lighting and torches everywhere. And the palisade walls too. Looks nice. And look at the trees swaying in the wind. That sway. It's a small effect, but it's very nice.
If we're expecting a fight, we'll want to assemble a squad with the best traits, items, and the most fighting experience to ensure our chances of victory. It also might be a good idea to include a scout to improve our line of sight. We can preview each squad member's profile in the details panel.
Oh, you can customize each individual unit?
Now we can ask our chosen subjects to suit up for the fight. In GORD, subjects aren't locked to one profession, so we can order them to change at any time depending on our current needs.
Oh.
We can also increase our capabilities by having some divine power on our side. By asking subjects to pray at a temple, we'll receive a steady flow of faith points that we can use to cast incantations.
Yeah. Oh, okay, so we're charging up our spells by praying at the thing in the middle? Which is like the furnace or whatnot from Frostpunk, at least that's what it reminds me of. Wow, the sounds are very nice. The wind is beautiful. Animals roaming around like doggos. Leaves and things falling. Good detail all over. Man, now I just want to play myself. So he's building up a small group of units. It did seem like there was some customization for each of them. He mentioned making some of them scouts, so perhaps some of them could be better with stealth, but maybe do less attack. That's a good looking group though. They don't look generic at all.
Alright, I think we're well prepared now and ready to go. We'll select our previous group and set up some guarding rules so that our more heavily armored squad members take most of the enemy attention. Then we'll simply choose a direction for them to move. Along the way we might also stumble onto some points of interest such as ruins, broken carts, loose stones and corpses. We should investigate these, since they can often lead to resources or valuable pieces of equipment.
Right.
But as with everything, value comes at a price, so we'll need to be wary of beasts and monsters guarding these treasures. Combat in GORD is very straightforward. Once an enemy enters our squad's line of sight, each of our subjects will attack automatically.
Ooh, active pause.
Subject has 2 attacks and will default to the best one depending on the situation, such as facing a singular enemy or multiple opponents at once. Enemies in our world come in a variety of shapes and sizes. You can expect to find beasts, monsters, humanoids, and the most powerful of all, horrors. Creatures such as beasts and monsters are territorial and will usually guard a certain area, often hiding a resource or treasure. Humanoids, on the other hand, are more prone to raiding. If we weren't to attack first, they would almost certainly assault our GORD in the near future. For example, doing higher damage during a blizzard, and a special ability such as producing those poisonous eggs we're currently searching for.
Oh. Weather, seasonal effects have a effect on combat, perhaps. That'd be an interesting thing to explore further. I love the one character with the torch, too, with all the lighting around. It's like the hero unit that's luring everybody in to, Yeah, wow, this is playing like, almost reminding me of like RTS War Tales. It certainly looks like War Tales, or War Tale. But as an RTS and plays so differently. I love that. Oh, and a special ability. Incantation, perhaps? Great, reinforcements. Healing ability. And moving the units again. Ooh. Different sounds if you're close to a swamp. Sounds a little more muddy and watery. Dangerous boar there. Would be cool if by killing that you could bring that meat back to your base. Apparently the developers have mentioned that some of this plays like Northgard in many regards too, so I am getting a little bit of game mechanics in each of these, and I wonder how far it goes into each of those. We played a lot of RTSs here on the channel, and a lot of city builders, so experience in those games would certainly bode well here in this game. And to see how unique and different. Oh, great. Is that a bear? Oh, how wonderful. My absolute favorite. Can't wait to see them try to take that on. Man, the wilderness here is so dangerous. There was like wolves, and then a boar, and now even more wolves, and now there's a bear. And this is just Mother Nature. Wow. Oh, wow. That bear is awfully close. Oh, and they're pulling it in. They're going to pull it in. He's going to go for it. Nope. He's wise. An experienced gamer, I see. Completely avoiding the bear. Yeah, that'd be a certain death trap. Yeah, so it looks like some of the landscape is like how it is in Northgard, where there are perhaps regions of the map that will affect your combat slightly, but also where you can bring a hero to, as you mentioned, a cart, or would look to be a destroyed mill down there, and other structures that can give you food, gold, wood, whatever. I like that. That's very cool. And our RTS squads are very small at the moment, and it certainly represents a small village, like a small patrol, or just like a little security unit. A town guard, if you will. More incantations, I think, being used. Sound like monkeys.
Looks like we finally found our targets. Fall spawn aren't particularly durable, but they can do some serious damage if they attack in a group.
Oh great, the horde. And this is the pre-beta build as well. Man, it looks so good. It really is like playing Ancestors Legacy, but also like a top-down MMO as well. At least, you know, it kind of looks like it with the small group of people. Almost looks like a raid going on. Fog, tipped over trees. I love the details here. Looks like a destroyed little house in the lower left corner. Or a little shack. What? Oh, is that foul spawn? Yeah.
We did it. Now that we've finished our quest, we can head back to heal our wounds. Alongside physical damage, certain intense situations can impact our subjects' mental states as well.
Right.
This can come from something as simple as someone walking outside of a light source, or under more traumatic circumstances, such as incurring physical wounds or seeing a fellow subject in trouble. We also have a kinship system that scales the severity of these effects depending on if our subjects are related.
Really? No way. That's cool. That makes the environment feel just as dangerous being outside the walls as it is fighting the creatures outside of it. Again, going back to Frostpunk, you know, sending scouts outside the city must have been a brutal thing for them to experience, but in this case, the outside of the walls of the city is so dangerous and spooky, and people fear it so much that it actually affects them mentally, and they'll have to come back and, like, I don't know, de-horrify or whatnot. A game like Age of Darkness Final Stand has elements like that too, where when creatures attack your city and your city walls, they can be horrified and become like demoralized that way.
Finally, we can give our subjects some well-deserved rest. This Balia can help with physical regeneration, while our Meadery can let our subjects relax and forget their worries.
Nice.
Soon, they'll have recovered and be ready for more action. So far, we've shown only a small piece of one level. Each of the campaign maps has been handcrafted to accommodate our main story following the events described in our in-game book of lore, the Chronicle. But we also have a custom scenarios mode, which will allow us to fully customize our experience.
Hell yeah.
Here we can choose from a variety of settings ranging from the size of our map to the type of terrain we'll encounter,
so
how
a
many
campaign
points
and
of
a skirmish
interest we'll
mode
have available to investigate, how many enemies will be in the world, and those starting resources we'll have. Next, we can choose our starting group. We'll be given a set of subjects chosen from a pool of 1,000 semi-randomized profiles, each with their own characteristics and bios. Each profile can differ not only in subjects' starting profession, but their equipment, age, strengths, weaknesses, or predispositions for gaining certain types of experience.
Frozenheim,
Once
but
we're
Slavic.
happy with our scenario, we can procedurally generate our map and begin our adventure.
That's a good way to put that.
In this instance, we've chosen the construction challenge, but we're free to continue playing after completing our main objective.
I like it. Certainly a lot of elements that I'm surprised to see.
Our subjects are now awaiting their orders, and we can set off on a new adventure.
And that's what it's like when you build a village completely from scratch. 5 people, a little campfire, have to build all of what you saw. Damn. All right, thanks for watching. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comments section. That's all for now. See ya.